Hey everyone, so I just finished the book called 5 Views on Biblical Inerrancy. It was a good, helpful read just to help me get a sense of what the different perspectives were on whether people believe the Bible has errors. You know, what is the Bible's authority and what sort of authority is it? So there were 5 different authors that contributed to the book. 4 were evangelical and 1 was not evangelical, but he was sympathetic to evangelicalism. And 4 of them basically believed in inerrancy. Here's the interesting thing. It's kind of weird, and it's kind of maybe an issue I had with what these authors were saying. Out of the 4 authors who believed in inerrancy, only one of them actually believed what I thought inerrancy meant. And the other 3 kind of had their own interesting, flexible definitions of what inerrancy means. And let me just give you an example of one of the authors. So, when he was talking about the passage in Joshua 6, where the Israelites walk around the walls of Jericho blowing their horns and then the walls come tumbling down. Basically, all archaeologists who aren't Christians who believe in biblical inerrancy, basically all archaeologists think that the way the Bible tells that story is false. Just based on the evidence, which I can't get into, all archaeologists say that Jericho fell in some other way than what the Bible says. And so this author, who does believe in biblical inerrancy, says that the Bible is inerrant in that it is true about what it affirms, but not about all that it mentions. The Bible is true in all that it affirms, but not in all that it mentions. And if that sounds weird or kind of confusing, that's because it is, in my opinion, I think. So with the Joshua 6 passage, he's saying that what the Bible is affirming there is a theological point. It's a point about God, saying that God was true to his promises and gave Israel the land that he had promised them. So the point of the passage is to make a point about God, not to state the details of the historical facts about how the Israelites actually got that land. So this author fully admits that although there's some kernel of historical truth to Joshua 6, he fully admits that the facts, like the details of the story, could be kind of exaggerated, or the author might have had some poetic license in sort of how he shaped the story to sort of say what he wanted it to say. He fully admits that things might not have historically happened exactly how Joshua 6 lays it out. But he still believes in inerrancy. See, here's the issue for me. He believes in inerrancy, the Bible has no errors, and yet he believes that these historical facts that the Bible is seeming to talk about didn't necessarily happen the way the Bible says it did. And to me that just makes me think, why are you holding on to this word inerrancy at all? I get his point about, Joshua 6 being about a theological point, not necessarily about a historical point. I get it all. But why not just use a different term, like infallibility might be the technical term for what he's trying to say. Another example is when Jesus is talking about a mustard seed being the smallest seed we have. Well, we know nowadays that there's actually smaller seeds than a mustard seed, so Jesus seems to be wrong. But again, his point is that Jesus is making a spiritual point about having faith. he's not trying to give a biology lesson on how big seeds are. So again, his point is the Bible is inerrant because Jesus is making a true spiritual point, even if it's not like a true biology point. So again, I find that all kind of weird. You know, okay, maybe it's not called an error, but at least the Bible's not trustworthy on those sorts of biology or historical points. Anyway, I have more to say about this in the next 2 or so vlogs coming up, so I will see you then. Peace.